Who's everybody?
Yeah, who are you talking to?
Ronnie.
Mackenzie, Miriam,
Yeah.
Lisa,
Hi.
Maeve,
Okay.
Nicole from International Sister.
International. Okay. And I'm Craig Shapiro.
And I'm that person.
Yeah. Yeah. I just have to say, I don't know where they got that picture.
Okay.
Okay.
Did you feel, this is the second season, did you feel after the first season that people were going to compare with the original series and now you don't have that kind of pressure or responsibility or anything? Or was
Well,
that
actually,
not even an issue?
we were not involved with season 1 of this reboot.
Oh.
We are new showrunners,
okay.
and we have been brought in to help bring the show to its potential, reach its potential, and we sort of are bringing a different energy to season 2, and sort of changing the storyline. Is going to be more epic, more cinematic, more stylish, deeper mythology, edgier, sexier. We're sort of
Moodier.
Lots of adjectives.
Yeah.
So we're sort of taking season 1 where it started, and we're now moving it to sort of the next level. And it's very exciting. I think people are going to be blown away by the show. It's really, I mean, we're the showrunners, but it is really fantastic.
Yeah. Wait, now have you guys seen the first episode yet?
I have
Yeah.
not, no.
Hopefully you'll get a chance to see it today. We're just extremely proud of it.
The
It's
screening is in like 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yes.
So-
Yeah, exactly.
Does it still deal with the aftermath of the last season, or is it just totally...
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, it really picks up with where we left off, which is the elders are gone and the charmed ones are in charge. And it's sort of, we really look at what does it actually mean? You know, what does it mean to be in charge? And when you are in your 20s, if somebody hands you the keys to a kingdom, and there's all this expectation and burden on you, what does that do to you? And also, how do you react to being given those keys to the kingdom? And I should say also, I've been saying 7 minutes, but maybe more like 9 minutes into the first episode of the season, there is a ginormous twist that shifts things into a very unexpected direction. And I promise you that every episode there's something very unexpected that happens. This season is serialized. It has an underlying mystery that runs through the entire season.
Right. So, and I think that's the important, like, goes to, I think, was that your question you just asked, like, why a reboot in general? Like, reboots are so great because it gives you a chance to take the same world, but develop it in a whole different way, and I think that's why people like Sabrina, and they like Battlestar, and they like, those are nothing like the original series, and this could be the same, and I really think we're building on what was into a whole new dynamic. I really do think it's really, really cool and fun, and I think one of the most interesting parts really is that because we're now serialized, it's not just like, this week is a demon, we're going to kill him, episode over, reset next week. It gives us a long mystery to connect across 22 episodes. It's not even like 13. We've got this central mystery that is threaded through the whole season, and you'll learn basically in minute 7 or 9 or whatever it is, something is set in motion, and the whole season is about unraveling, wait a second, what just happened to us, and how do we protect ourselves against it? I really do think it's a lot of fun.
When you have, I used to watch Charmed, the original version,
Yeah.
and it went on for so many years, and now you have a second season of the first season that went well, and we're talking about 22 episodes, which it's now apparently the unusual format on television.
I know, amazing.
What is the biggest challenge when you take in this show that already has this well-established brand, and you have to do this 22 episodes?
Well, I think that Charmed was always a 22-episode show, so it always had to live in that world. If you're talking about just the challenge of 22 generally, well, serialized storytelling is very difficult for a writer's room because you're always adjusting going forward and backward because, it's not like in the cable world, you may have 3 months or 4 months to just break the season and then maybe you start writing and then when all the scripts are done, you shoot. We don't have that. We had 2 weeks to figure out the storyline for a season, and then we start breaking and writing and shooting, and we're doing it all at the same time. So the challenge is keeping all the balls in the air and keeping everything straight, but we have an incredible writer's room that is very organized and very thoughtful, and everything that we put in these shows has meaning and purpose. And
nothing's random.
We come from serialized storytelling, so that's where we've been, and that's what we continue to do.
So we have a board in the writer's room that is like the size of that wall that just contains all the mythology as it's unfolding and as it's being rewritten. So, because part of what I find so interesting about doing a genre show is not just like, hey, there's a demon and then we move on to the next, but it's like, what is the larger world that we're building here, and how can we make it cool and interesting and different? And that really means oh man, you need a giant board to track all the characters
Yes.
and all the rules of demons and
Yes.
witches and
And
kingdoms.
22 is just
Right.
22 is epic.
Right, and so a large part of the season is about understanding. You know, in the past, there was the demon world and there was the witch world, and they just didn't get along, and they were all trying to kill each other. But this season is really about trying to understand
The why.
why they're trying to kill. What exactly is this sort of, in our terms, like the geopolitics or the social situation that has them at each other's throats for so long? And so part of the fun of the season is unraveling that and really getting to understand how the demon world and the witch world are connected and how they play against each other.
So researching guys, you guys have worked on several shows together.
We're married.
Your husband and wife too.
Yeah.
It's no
I was
coincidence,
wondering
yeah.
how sort of how you guys got involved with this project, and what is it about the Charm brand that's so special for you guys?
Yeah.
Well, we're married. The secret's out. 27 years.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
we're still both alive.
Yes,
we killed each other.
nobody's killed anybody yet. Yeah.
So we
Working
come-
together for 20 years. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So this would be funny if this was the moment we actually did kill each other in
Yeah.
an interview.
And you all got to see it.
Yeah. So the question about why Charmed, is that really the question? Well, I'll tell you. We had just finished a show that we love desperately called Salvation, and it was a serialized storytelling, and it was sort of about a big idea, which is when faced with an existential threat, what is one human being's responsibility? And we looked at Charmed and thought, this is a story about 3 young women who, it's about sort of female empowerment. We have a 21-year-old daughter, and I just thought telling stories for young women in today's world, and also just sort of what does it mean to have power? What is power, right? And what is personal power, other than just sort of the metaphor of power? And it was an area we hadn't been in. And so when the studio came to us and said, would you guys consider taking over the show, it was because they liked sort of where we come from, which is a darker storytelling. We did season 2 of Extant, the Halle Berry show, and it was reimagining what they had done in the first season and allowing us to tell stories for a younger generation, which we hadn't really done. So it was just kind of exciting, and these people are so talented,
Right.
and they get to do such interesting work. I really think if you guys have seen season 1, when you watch season 2, you will see how,
Yes.
like the Harry Potter movies, where the first one is sort of a lighter touch, and then it gets darker as you go. This season really takes us into this other world. So.
Right. I do think that's a really good analog, because I'm not saying we're like Harry Potter, but Harry Potter really, it started in the small. You got to know the characters in the world of just like Hogwarts, and that was sort of it. But by book 3, you understood, wow, there's so much more going on than the kids understood or that we, the audience, understood. And this is really what we're trying to do, is like expand the whole palette, so you go, oh wow, like, and their characters go, wow, I had no idea all this was going on in the larger magic world, and I think it's really fun. It's really exciting.
Guys, we're gonna have to wrap this up. So
Sorry.
if you have one more last question, or
So I've seen the first episode, and at the very end, you really do make it a very global thing. How are the girls going to react to realizing that there are no more white lighters besides Harry?
Right.
Are they going to try and protect the entire world? That's a lot of little lights on that now.
Right.
Yes.
Well, that's, what, for us, this is in some ways, is it an allegory, I want to say, really?
Sure.
It's about climate change. It's about, the world is dying, and we may be the only ones who can save it. And that's really what the season is about.
Right.
And so it's like, if obviously we're not saying it and spelling it out that way, but if you look at it that way, it's like, what can 3 young women really do? How can they save the world? How can they change the world? The answer is you can do a lot. One person can make a difference. So.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Yes.